Hey everyone, my name's Kelvin and I'm going to quickly show you how you can use Mandala Creator Basic Edition to make a mandala just like this one. The first thing you'll do is download that folder and then unzip it. Inside there's a few files. These are the action scripts and this is the template. So the first thing we'll do is we'll open the template and I'll drag that into Illustrator. It'll look just like this, and I can zoom in. And this template comes with built-in brushes. So we'll open the brush panel by going to Window, Brushes, and it'll look just like that. I think there's 21 brushes here. And then these work with the action scripts to actually make the mandala. So we'll load the action scripts by going to Window, Actions. And if you see any actions already here, I recommend that you clear those. Because they might confuse you later on. So we'll load the actions by going to the little menu and then load actions. And then we'll navigate back to that folder we unzipped, and we'll have two choices. There's two sets of action scripts. One makes a sort of a 6-pointed mandala, and this one makes an 8-pointed mandala. For this demo, I'll do a 6-pointed mandala, so we'll double click that. And they should look just like this. If it doesn't, if it just looks like some kind of a flowchart or a bunch of words, you should make sure it's in button mode. So if it looks like this, go to the little menu and then make sure it's in button mode. And we can get started by using the first script here, Start New Mandala. And that'll just create a center, and it'll just select the first brush in the list here. So while this is selected, we can change the appearance of this mandala center by selecting a different brush. But I've organized these brushes essentially by use. So these sea brushes, these sort of turquoise or I don't know, seafoam color seas here, those are for centers. And you can use any of these brushes for anything, but I just recommend these ones for centers. So we can start by selecting this one. This one's great. And we basically start making these mandalas from the center out. So we'll duplicate a ring, and this is basically the process for building a mandala. Is whatever ring is selected, you can add another ring, clone it basically by using the duplicate ring script right there, and it'll make a copy of the first ring and then place it behind and then make it a little bit larger. So you see now we've got a duplicate of the first one just kind of peeking out behind there, and we can use the grow script or the shrink script to make it more or less visible. And then also we've got some rotating scripts down here, so we can align it however we want. So while that ring is selected, we can choose a different pattern. These kind of turquoise S patterns here, these are basically simple patterns. So we'll choose something maybe like that. Grow it just a little bit. I think that's all right. And then we'll add another ring to the mandala by using the duplicate ring script. And if nothing happens, if you run that script and nothing happens like this, what's gone wrong is these scripts will only work if a ring is selected. So you want to select the ring you want to actually affect. So we'll select that one, duplicate ring, and then choose a different pattern. We'll rotate it so it kind of fits into the gap there. Duplicate ring. Okay, that looks okay. Add another ring. Maybe something like this. And these are organized by complexity. So these M's are medium, and then these X's are super complicated patterns. And we'll select something like that. Maybe this one. And duplicate ring, rotate, shrink. So once you get towards the outside of the mandala, you might want to make a pattern that's a little more complicated than what's offered here. So what we'll do is we'll add a ring that's really simple, and we can double the instances of the pattern, where in this case there's 6 instances, 6 points. We can use the shrink pattern script to double it to 12, and it'll also shrink the ring itself. So it's covered up, so we'll grow it here to show it off. There we go. So we've turned that 6-pointed simple pattern now into a 12-pointed. And then the grow pattern basically undoes that, turns it back into a 6-pointed one. So using these scripts and the rotating scripts, this is how you can sort of stack and layer all different patterns in a lot of different ways, and it'll let you create pretty unique rings in your mandala. Once you're happy with how the mandala looks, you can just give it a once over and see if there's something you want to edit here, because once we use the cleanup script, we won't be able to go back very easily. So I want to make this ring a little smaller so I can select it. Shrink ring just like that. Okay. And that one right there, shrink that a little bit. Not so much. Okay, I'm happy with this mandala, and I'll go ahead and run the cleanup script. And at this point, you can choose the line thickness of your mandala. You can do that by selecting the whole mandala and directly entering what kind of stroke you want, like a 4-point stroke or a 2-point stroke. Or you can use thicker stroke, thinner stroke, something like that, if you're not comfortable just entering it directly. I think a 3-point stroke is good for this one. And the best way to export these is in a totally different blank document. So if you're happy with this black and white mandala just the way it is, we can select it and go to copy, and we'll make a new document. I think 1,000 by 1,000 is fine. And paste it in, scale it up. And then you'd export it from this document just like normally. And you can do the same thing if you want to change the stroke width, whatever. And if you want to, colorize your mandala or separate the black from the white shapes, the best thing to do is live trace it. So if I bring it off the artboard here, you'll be able to see it against this gray background. So basically, it's a really complicated shape, layers and layers and layers. And if we want to simplify it so we can edit each part, the best way is to go to Object, Rasterize. And this will basically make an image out of this mandala, just a black and white image. And then we can go to Trace here. So once you've rasterized it, you can select the basically an image here. And then you'll have this little image trace option up there. So don't click that button directly, because it'll just default to whatever the last script was used, which could be the wrong one. So we'll instead select this little arrow, drop-down menu, and all versions of Illustrator will have this black and white logo preset. So just select that little arrow and then select black and white logo. It'll trace it. It's going to basically squint at this image and turn it into black lines and white lines, or white shapes and black shapes. It's still sort of editable by the tracing panel, but this default script is fine, so we can expand it. So click that little expand, and now it's going to turn it into pure white shapes and black shapes. And it's grouped now, so we'll ungroup that. And this is how we can select different parts of it that we want to get rid of, and just have like say a black outline. So you can have Illustrator help you select similar colored shapes actually. So we'll select the white, and we could go to select same fill color and delete that, and then we'll have just a black outline that we can edit, turn into a different color. If you want to colorize your mandala, you can leave the white shapes and then just select the areas that you want to color specifically like this and change it like that. And that's basically it. Obviously the image tracing is totally optional unless you want to color it. So hopefully this is a pretty good overview about how you can use Mandala Creator Basic Edition to make some unique patterns. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or leave a comment. And other than that, guys, thanks for your support and thanks for watching.